Hey everyone, Austin here again with another quick play. This is my casual gameplay series where I fire up a game and attempt to go through it. This is Smash TV, this time for the NES. A few weeks back, I actually covered the Super Nintendo version. Was just going to do a basic gameplay session of it. I ended up beating the game without continuing for the first time live on that session. It was pretty crazy. Was not expecting to do that. And on that video, I asked if people wanted to see the original Smash TV on NES. And yeah, I mean, people had told me, yes, I want to see it. And so we're going to go ahead and try to do an attempted playthrough of the NES version of the game. Now, Smash TV was an arcade game on arcade hardware that far surpassed any 8-bit console. Hell, it probably surpassed most of the 16-bit consoles. And you know, even the 16-bit versions had to be trimmed down from the arcade version. Surprisingly, the NES version actually plays really, really well. I'm going to go ahead and just jump into the game here. But yeah, it actually plays very, very well, and it's fast. I don't recall there being much slowdown or anything like that, and it's just a really solid effort. Much better than the Master System version. It even plays better than the Genesis version of the game, which is insane. So, but yeah, this is Smash TV. It's a twin-stick shooter in the arcade. On the NES version, it can be a twin-stick shooter. This version actually allows you to use two controllers, and you basically use two directional pads, one in your left hand and one in your right hand. I've never actually played it like that, but if you wanted to, you could technically get like a two arcade stick setup and actually play this version of the game with two arcade sticks. It's kind of insane. I don't even think that option was in the Super Nintendo version. And so, yeah, this is actually kind of funny. Now that I think about it, the NES version actually has an advantage over the SNES game, which is a great game. The SNES version of Smash TV is so good, and definitely worth playing if you guys haven't played it before. But yeah, it's a twin-stick shooter. You basically just try to survive in each room, get to the end boss, and then go on to your next stage. There are only 3 levels in this game, but they're all pretty long. Pretty great sounding voice samples in this one too, which is kind of cool. Now, I had mentioned it in my Super Nintendo playthrough, but one of the issues with the NES version of the game is that it basically uses the same music for like the entire playthrough. Ooh. My shield ran out. So interesting, your shield doesn't actually change color in this when it's about to run out. Okay, so that's actually really good to know. I kind of got cocky there and was just running straight into all the enemies because I thought my shield was going to last a little bit longer. So it looks like that's a boot icon down there that actually allows me to speed up, which is actually very useful. Definitely want to try to grab as many of those as I can. Now, we're not actually using 2 controllers for this one. We are just using one. And so when you're using one controller, how it works is A will allow you to shoot in any direction. The B button will lock you into that direction. So it's kind of like, in a way, this controls like a old school first-person shooter where you don't have strafe left or strafe right, individual strafe left or strafe right keys. What you do is you lock yourself into a single strafe position and just move back and forth. And that's how Smash TV on NES works by default. Again, you can use a second controller, play it like an actual twin-stick shooter, but we are not playing like that. So that can actually get a little rough on your hands, having to constantly, like, you know, let go of B, then press B again, and it can be a little disorienting, but it is what it is. You do get used to it. And these turrets at the top, I like to try to get rid of them because, as you can see, they can shoot all the way across the arena. And so there are enemies in the arcade game and a lot of the other versions called Mr. Shrapnel. And there are these fat dudes that actually go along the sides of the screen, and eventually they explode. They've been turned into just like these bombs. These are basically like rolling bombs now. Probably easier to draw and animate on a Nintendo Entertainment System. You know, far less, or far more inferior hardware than a Super Nintendo or the arcade version of this game. So yeah, there have been some major cutbacks like that. Also, I think there are some enemy designs that have been cut. If I recall correctly, I think there might even be some weapons that are missing. Like, I don't think you have the lobber in this game. basically the big grenade kind of weapon that you use on the boss fights. Pretty much mandatory for the boss fights in like the SNES and arcade versions of the game. But that's not even going to exist here. You do have the rocket launcher, which we actually haven't gotten yet. It's a blue missile icon. That one I just picked up is actually the regular grenades. And the regular grenades in this version of the game actually are pretty decent. In the arcade and Super Nintendo versions of the game, I don't think they're all that great. And look, it still says Meet Mr. Shrapnel, but Mr. Shrapnel doesn't really exist in this. It's just, we should call him Mr. Bomb, because that's what they are. They're basically rolling bombs. You can actually see, they have like the little, never mind. Let's go ahead and grab this foot icon. Don't mind me, sometimes I just can't talk in these videos. It's also very early in the morning as of recording this video, and I still haven't quite woken up yet. I have had some caffeine, but I actually, I think I kind of burned through that in my first couple playthroughs. This is actually my third gameplay recording in one session. So when I do these quick plays, I try to crank out a few of them. I'm trying to get a backlog of content, so I have more of a buffer room, you know, to work on other kinds of videos without having to, like, stress over them. Really don't like it when I'm like, oh god, I haven't had a video out in weeks, now I've got to rush to get one out, blah blah blah. But with these quick plays, they've created a buffer that allows me to not stress over my more involved playthroughs. Alright, so these are bonus rooms. So when you start each level... Big prizes! When you start each level, after the first room, it actually pops up with a map, and you kind of want to try to follow that map to the different bonus arenas. You can get some really good things, you know, you can get a lot of extra points, you can get some one-ups and things like that. And so yeah, you definitely want to try to go to each of the bonus rooms if you can. They will definitely make life easier. So you'll notice in the top left, it actually says I have 9 lives, and I don't think lives stack in this. We did confirm the Super Nintendo one that lives do not stack past 9, so I'm going to assume it's the same in the NES version. I do believe the NES version was actually done by the same studio that did the SNES port, so I'm going to assume there's probably a little bit of consistency there between the two different versions. Let's go ahead and just continue to get these boots if we see them, and I'll keep my movement speed up. There's a rocket launcher. The rocket launcher is really good against the bombs. You can kill them in one hit, as you can see. There's another boot. Let's grab that. Keep sped up. Get rid of that bomb. Now, I actually haven't played the NES version in like a year. I was practicing this last year, or a year ago I should say, to potentially do a Let's Play of the game. One of my more formal Let's Play walkthroughs. And I decided against it because it is a little repetitious. But that's actually perfect for the QuickPlay series where, you know, I don't have to... well, it's perfect for the QuickPlay series where, like, repetition is okay. So there's only so much I can explain in this game, and then it's all just me just playing the game and just talking about random ass things. Whereas in my Let's Play walkthroughs, I prefer to be able to like talk about tips and strategies for, you know, the entire run if I can, or most of the run. So these are tanks, and they're pretty, no pun intended, but they're pretty tanky in this game. They take a lot of hits. I think way more hits than they do in like the Super Nintendo or arcade games, which is kind of interesting. So there have been some other design changes like that, which is kind of interesting. Now I do think sitting in the corner is a more viable strategy in the NES game when you do not have your orb or your pod. So there is in other versions of the game, there is a little rotating orb that you can get. I don't think it exists in the NES version. I guess we're gonna find out because it's been a while since I played this version. But I think that's one of the things that was cut out. Probably to like minimize on the amount of like projectiles on screen at once. You already noticed that there's a lot of flicker as is. And if I had my orb doing double the firepower, it would be even crazier. And I'm actually dying in really bad ways here. I really shouldn't be doing that. That's completely my fault. So, those little blue icons, they're shields, so you can just run straight into enemies left and right, and not worry about dying. There's a rocket launcher. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. This is why you gotta get rid of the turret guys first. And it's my fault for not doing that. Get rid of the turret guy, then life is a hell of a lot easier. So we just lost a bunch of lives for reasons that were of my own doing. So that's always like the worst way to go, is when like you've just made dumb mistakes that can be completely avoided. Alright, we'll see what we can do here. This is I think Mutoid Man. I think this is our first boss fight. And if I recall correctly, he's really, really tough in this one. Super Nintendo 1, he's actually not too bad once you kind of figure out how to do it. But in this one, he likes to just like charge right towards you a lot. That said, I do think, ooh yeah, just like that. That said, I do think that your regular pistol might actually work on him in this. You might actually be able to kill him with it. As long as, like, you're getting... Holy crap, that goes all the way across the screen? Man. Yeah. This is, kind of crazy, actually. Yeah, as long as you're getting points for shooting him, I'm pretty sure you're doing damage, so... Even with my regular gun, I can still do damage. In other versions of the game, you have to have special weapons to do damage. Your regular pistol does not. Now I've got my shield, which is great, which is why I just ran straight into him. Yep, he just goes straight across the screen. That's just insane. That's so hard to deal with. And it seems like you really have to stay above him, but then he just does that. That's rough. Yeah, I remember the first time I played this recently, or I should say last year when I was trying to practice for a potential Let's Play, that I just got wrecked by this guy. Because of that, he just dive bombs you. So, in the Super Nintendo version, he actually can't hit you if you're in like the top left or top right corner. If he like tries to crush you, there's just enough of a gap to where he can't actually touch you. So there's a safe zone, and I don't think there's a safe zone in this version. So it's kind of interesting how like some things are easier in the 16-bit versions, and some things are harder. It's interesting. So, all right, level 1 down. I mean, we still have some lives. We'll kind of see what happens here. Hopefully we can get some extra lives. And for Scarface, which is... in the Super Nintendo version, he's definitely the hardest boss in the game. After I did my quick play of this game, I tried going through it again, and it took me 3 more tries to get another 1 credit clear in that version of the game. And it was all because of Scarface. I would get to Scarface with like 9 lives, lose every single life, and it was run over. You know, it was basically game over, runs over. So, very frustrating stuff. But we'll see how much harder he is in this version, or easier. Potentially easier. There's another extra life. Very nice. Good start. Let's go ahead and get these boots. Stay fast. Always want to stay fast. And there's a spread shot. Man, got the coughs right now. Oh, man. Yeah, these orbs are actually like really big enemies in this version. They're much smaller in other versions of the game, which is kind of interesting. And one thing I like about the rocket in this version is that it shoots a lot slower, and so you burn ammo much slower as well. But it's so powerful, you actually want it to fire slower. You don't want it to fire super fast like it does in the Super Nintendo or arcade version. Pardon me. Let's take the bottom route. This is kind of the route I became comfortable with in the Super Nintendo version. Yeah, after I did my quick play, I did 3 more runs of the SNES game, and on my 3rd run, I got another 1 credit clear. That was the goal. I wanted to see if I could do it again, and see if I can do it more consistently. And I'll probably continue to work at it to see if I can get it much more consistent. But again, Scarface is like the holdup in the SNES game. It's he's a very difficult boss. And in the SNES playthrough, I think I had talked about these enemies. I think I called them bulls. Turns out they're called buffalo. Herds of buffalo. And, so yeah, that is what they're called. Now, the whole, like, strafe mechanic in this is starting to kind of, like, wear on me already. I'm kind of, like, getting a little dyslexic with it. And that's one of the issues with this mechanic. You know, having to lock in your aim to strafe. It also becomes very, like, stress-inducing on your wrists and your hands and your fingers. So, just something to keep in mind if you decide that you want to try to play this game. Alright, got a good spread shot. And another spread shot. Now, because you shoot slower in this version of the game, I like to make sure that I've gotten my ammo low before I try to pick up another weapon. I want to try to, like, maximize my ammunition. That makes the levels a lot easier. Alright, here's a bonus room.
Big money! Big prizes! I love it!
Now, all these, like, point icons here, they're just for fun. You don't get extra lives from points in this game. The game is kind of brutal in that regard, where, you know, it's all about points, but you don't really get anything for the points. It's mainly just for high scoring purposes. You know, you want the highest score in the game, then you're gonna need to get all, like, the goodies that are dropped on the playfield. And all the item drops and stuff like that on the playfield, they are completely random, as far as I can tell. It's just totally random, so you're just kind of like at the mercy of what the game wants to give you. However, playing the Super Nintendo version a lot more recently has kind of like led me to believe that some rooms are more likely to drop other power-ups than others. Like the bonus rooms have a tendency of giving you a lot of extra lives. So it's another reason why I feel like it's really important to try to get to the bonus rooms if you can. So I always try to route out, well, make a route that takes me to at least one bonus room. I don't even know if it's possible to access 2 bonus rooms in one route, but, you know, you definitely want to try to at least get one at the very least. Because it is possible to get through a lot of these levels, I think, without even hitting any of the bonus rooms. So that's just kind of on you at that point. But yeah, really fun version of Smash TV. It's kind of insane, like, how good it is. I mean, yeah, it's not, like, graphically impressive in the slightest. The sprites are extremely basic, but maybe that's, like, why it plays and runs as well as it does. You know, if they try to, like, toss it around much larger sprites, I think the NES would have chugged. It would have had a major problem, just, like... This game would have just struggled, honestly. And you can see that in other versions of the game, like the Master System version. Yeah, like another platform that probably should have been perfectly capable of doing a Smash TV like this, but it wasn't. It is so janky and it's so sluggish and choppy. Even the Genesis version, which was done by a totally different company, I think the Genesis one was done by Probe, and actually Probe might have done the Master System one as well. Not very good versions of the game. The Genesis version is, you know, it's tolerable, but you put it up against, like, the SNES version by Beam Software, who also, I believe, did the NES version here, and it's, like, night and day. It's crazy. And it's not even just because of the graphics. It's, like, the gameplay, it's also the choppiness of the frame rate. But it's crazy, like, how good this version is from a gameplay standpoint. It's fast, it's responsive, it doesn't ever slow down. Yeah, there's a lot of flicker, but that's NES for you, you know? You can only have so many sprites layered on the same line for it to not flicker. And a game like this, it's just flicker is pretty much going to be baked in to the experience, unfortunately. It's just how the hardware works. But you get past that, it plays really well. It's fast. A flicker for me has never been like a deal breaker. Because again, it's what you dealt with in this generation of gaming, you know. It's just what you dealt with. It's like slowdown, you know, it just kind of came with the territory. But honestly, I would personally rather have flicker rather than slowdown, because at least flicker, to an extent anyway, you know, doesn't harm the gameplay experience that much. Now, it's when it's like R-Type on Master System where the flicker can get so bad, or like R-Type on the PC Engine actually, where flicker can get so bad you can't actually see what you're doing. That doesn't ever happen in this game. Everything flickers really quickly, and so it never becomes like a hurdle you have to get over. It's just there. You know, you deal with it. It is what it is. It's an NES game. And, yeah, but it's fast. It plays fast, and it's, like I said, it never slows down. It's great. Really makes me wish that Beam was able to do the other versions of Smash TV, like the Genesis and the Master System, and I think there was even a Game Gear version of this game. Oh, and it looks like we've got the red balls. I was about to say, like, they're not even in this version of the game, but apparently they are. So generally, you would actually see these at the start of the Mutoid Man fight, which was our first boss. But, yeah, I guess they decided not to put them there on that fight. Alright, so the rocket launcher is actually really good against these, like, circular disc enemies. Ooh, I actually turned the wrong way. That was my fault completely. I can use my shield to just kind of cut through these guys real quick. That was actually really close. My shield ran out right as I killed the last piece. So it looks like I just got another extra life. It just kind of spawned right on top of me, so we're back up to 9 lives. I could use a better weapon, though, because these guys are a little tanky. No pun intended. Well, there really was no pun there. These aren't tanks. They're not like the other tanks. The actual tanks in the game. But they take a lot of hits. So your main shot is not ideal for them. You definitely want at least a spread shot, like we've got right here. Yeah, not a good situation right here. Although this, like, star barrier actually kind of helped me out a little bit, which is nice. Alright, get another rocket launcher. Very good. Looks like the hitboxes on these Buffalo are, you know, a little small, because I'm noticing my bullets are sometimes just going right through them. I feel like you have to hit them, like, dead center. Oh, I missed it. Missed the rocket launcher. Alright, get another grenade launcher. Yeah, I do like the grenade launcher more in this version of Smash TV, because it does feel like it's doing more. It's doing more for me, it's a little more useful. Now what I'm gonna have to do is actually try to fire up the arcade version of Smash TV again. I haven't actually played that version in a little while. I do have the arcade party pack on the Sony PlayStation, which has the arcade version on it. It's a pretty good way to play the game. I also still have the arcade, Xbox Live Arcade version from many, many years ago. It was like 2006. I think it was around 2006 when that version came out. Yeah, I still have that one, which is a good way to play the game as well. Chunks galore. Yeah, these level names are still the same as they are in other versions, which is cool. Okay, we still have 8 lives. Alright, another rocket launcher. Extra life, we definitely want that. Back up to 9 lives, it's good. Now, because it's been so long since I last played this version of the game, I'm going to be interested to see what Scarface looks like, who's the boss of this this level. Because I do know that some of the bosses in this were altered a little bit. Like the snake boss in this version, it's actual snakes like flying around the screen. Whereas in the arcade and Super Nintendo games, the snakes are like kind of stationary. I mean, their heads still move around, but you'll see what I mean once we get to the boss of Stage 3. Assuming we get to the boss of Stage 3. With how my Scarface runs were going on the Super Nintendo version, where I was losing all 9 lives in one fell swoop, we might not actually get past this level. But we'll see. I might not. Try to grab that shield. Destroy that bomb. Another shield. Definitely want to grab that. I mean, if you can grab the shields, it's good to grab the shields because, you know, you're invincible for a short period of time. It gives you a few moments of reprieve. It's like, whew, I can breathe for a second. That sort of thing. Another grenade. Yeah, and when I have this this star shield, I just let it kill the enemies for me. I don't worry about holding on to it. Man, I do really wish that they had the weapon pod in here. It basically would double my firepower. I'm definitely missing that, but the game's not nearly as intense as other versions, so it's not really necessary. But man, it still would have been a lot of fun if they had it. Poor NES probably just could not handle it. Something to keep in mind is that this is a 2-player at the same time game. You can actually play co-op. And so, you know, imagine like double the firepower with double the people on 2-player mode. This game would probably just like screech to a halt. A grinding halt. I actually wonder what this is like in 2-player mode. I've never played this with another human being. And so, I'm not sure how it actually handles 2 players. Like, I mean, how well it handles 2 players. It's another extra life, but I don't really need it. If any of you guys have played this version in 2-player mode, let me know how well it works. I'm very curious. You know what I need to do is I need to get like a friend over one day, do a 2-player NES stream where we just like fire up a bunch of 2-player games and just kind of see how they work, because I haven't played a lot of NES games in 2-player because just didn't really have the opportunity growing up. I think by the time I started playing games with other people, it was more like during the 16-bit era. I remember playing a lot of Genesis with some of my friends in 2-player mode. You know, the beat-em-ups like, you know, Golden Axe and freaking like Streets of Rage 2 and Eternal Champions and Street Fighter 2 and stuff like that. But NES, we didn't really play 2-players a lot. I mean, I think in the first year or two I had an NES, I think I did some 2-player, but that died pretty quickly. You know, there's a lot of stuff like Contra and Life Force. Okay, here's Scarface. We'll see what happens here. So if it's like the other versions of the game, you have to bust off all parts of his shield, or his outer barrier. And ideally you do that with other weapons. As long as parts are blinking, you still need to destroy them. Ugh. And he really likes to dive bomb you. He's very frustrating. Alright, shield, it's good. Extra life, definitely want that after dying. Alright. Okay, good stuff. First phase down. Oh, I lost my missile. I didn't think it was going to disappear like that. I didn't see it blink. I was probably just looking at the boss. So same deal, get rid of his outer shell. Oh yeah, this is much easier. Good old rocket's doing a ton of damage, it seems like. Alright, I think we got rid of all his pieces. Let's see. Nope, so I have to do that one. Oh, and he's dead. Wow, that was unbelievably easy compared to the Super Nintendo one. Holy cow. That was insane. Well, guys, there's a very good chance we're gonna beat this game now. We got arguably, well, what is the hardest boss in other versions is now out of the way, so we'll kind of see what happens. Yeah, one of my big issues with this game, though, is the soundtrack and the sound design. So, like, the tally for all your bonus icons at the end of each level is kind of, like, gimpy. It's not really good. It's very satisfying in, like, the arcade and Super Nintendo versions, where it's got this constantly, like, rising pitched sound, and it calculates it all slower. Also, like I mentioned previously, it also just reuses the same music track for every level. And then it stops as well. So, like, it cuts off after a point, and then you have no music in each stage. Or no music in the stage. Which is a real bummer. For one, I wish that they just added some more tunes. You know, even if they stop, just add some new music for each level, and that would have, like, you know, helped with the variety. Because they've got other tunes and other versions of the game, even what versions developed by the same studio. So it's kind of a weird design choice. Unless it was like, oh, we ran out of ROM space, so we can't even have any other music. But I feel like that probably wasn't the issue, given how simplistic the rest of the game looks. I can't imagine this is like a huge ROM file. I'll just go take a look actually at the size of the ROM itself on the, you know, on my hard drive. But, I mean, like I said, it's still a pretty awesome game for NES. It's just kind of crazy that like, they were even able to get this game running as well as it does, like I've said already. But, yeah, there are definitely some things about the game that I wish, like, were better. And it's actually one of those things, like, if someone can hack the game, maybe they could get some other music in there. That would be, like, a nice, like, ROM hack, I think. Alright, so I got another shield. I do also wish that, like, some of these palettes were a little bit better. Like, on this level, it's green enemies on top of a green background, so definitely not ideal. I do feel like they probably should have made these enemies a lighter color. Like those disc things that are coming out. Maybe make the enemies, like, orange instead of, like, dark green. You know, in other versions of the game, everything's a lot more colorful. And so, you know, you don't have that same problem of green enemies on a green background. Or if it is green on green, it's like really bright green on a dark green. And so they still stand out. But they don't stand out here. They kind of blend in. And, I'll have to play this on a CRT again and see how this looks. Because I wonder if this was like a problem for me back in the day. But then again, I don't know if I ever beat this game back in the day. This was a very difficult game for me on NES when I first had it. I actually bought this game at Toys R Us. At the end of the NES's lifespan, you can get NES games like this for about $10. And so, as a kid, with not a lot of money, but getting allowance from doing chores and stuff like that around the house, I was able to afford games like this. So yeah, Smash TV was one of those ones I got. Final Fantasy 1 was another one. That was $10 at Toys R Us. Very good deal. But yeah, I took a chance in this game. It always looked pretty cool. but I had never played it before. I never saw it in the arcades at the time. And ended up loving it. I was like, oh man, this game is awesome. I played it a lot, but again, I don't think I ever finished it. Because, you know, for a kid of my age back then, I was like, what? I don't know, 10, 11 years old maybe? It was tough. Turtle chunks needed.
Big money, big prizes. I love it.
Yeah, so when this guy pops up, it generally means you're in a bonus room, just like this. So again, that's ideally where you want to be, so you can get a lot more points, potentially get more extra lives and stuff like that. But yeah, like I said, I don't think I ever finished this game as a kid. It was really tough. It's not like I had been playing video games for 40 years by that point, like I have now, or yeah, like I have at this point in time as of recording this. So yeah, but I still loved it. It was fast, it was fun, it was challenging, it was addicting. Now, one thing I specifically remember happening is that oh, for some reason I thought I had a shield. I remember my thumbs blistering because of this game. I was pressing the D-pad so hard that this game actually like wore out my thumb, my left thumb in particular. And I still feel it a little bit when I play it on an actual NES controller today, especially like with the A and B buttons. The way I have to like straddle the controller to constantly, you know, hold down the A button as well as like roll the thumb over to press the B, or, you know, let go of B so I can change directions. It does like wear on your thumb after a while. But that, the NES D-pad, if you were like me as a kid and you pressed it really hard, like your thumbs would actually like peel up and blister. I know, real pleasant thought, right? As much as I love the NES controller, you know, it was one of those things where that could definitely happen, and I bet you it happened with a lot of other people too. If you have any experiences of that happening, really with any controller, do let me know down below in the comments, because I'm kind of curious. What, I had it happen a couple times on the NES, but Smash TV was the one where it happened the most. Like, man. Alright, looks like we're at the Cobra boss. Or not. I thought we were. I was actually looking at the top, where the whole top area looks like it's like broken apart, and that to me was like an indication that we were at a boss fight, but apparently not. Alright, grab that shield. Good time to get a shield. Another extra life, that's very good. Increases our chances of surviving through the whole game. Get another shield, just like so. Nice. Good position there with the shield. Looks like my shield wore off already. Oh, another shield. I'll take it. Yeah, this version definitely does not get nearly as intense as other versions of the game, which is interesting. Oh, missed the boots. Whoops, my bad. So now I'm gonna have to try to fire up like the Genesis version of the game, because I remember it not being anywhere near as good as the SNES version. It also controls kind of funky as well. I think it's got a similar mechanic as the NES version, where you know, because when Smash TV came out in Genesis, it was, you know, there was only the 3-button controller on the market. There wasn't even a 6-button yet. So, you know, there's a similar strafe mechanic like there is in the NES version, but there's also an extra feature where one of the buttons will actually allow you to shoot backwards in the opposite direction that you're moving. And I remember that being like, interesting, but really hard to wrap my head around. You know, whereas this simple strafe mechanic is fine, you know, you had this other mechanic in the Genesis version that was just difficult to get used to, and I don't think I ever got used to it. But I'll have to revisit it and just kind of see what I can do with it. Now, with this more NES-style strafe mechanic in the Genesis version, you know, you can still do that. But the thing about the Genesis version is it does have more enemies than the NES game, and so, like, you don't have as much time to just, like, switch shooting directions like you do in this one. Like, I'm not really having problems, like, switching and re-locking in my, my strafe. But in the Genesis version, you know, it's a lot more chaotic and it's a lot faster, so it doesn't really work all that great. I do wonder if there's a dual controller option in the Genesis version. I'm gonna have to, again, oh, that was really lazy on my part. I was going for the grenade. I got really greedy there, and that was just dumb. So I lost another life, so that's not good. When I get down to like 6 lives or whatever, I start to like kind of panic a little bit. I know 6 lives sounds like a lot, but I mean, you can die really fast in this game, so... yeah, you can die just super fast in this game. Witness total carnage! So we're probably getting close to the snake boss. Oh, another extra life. Definitely want that. If the game's gonna let me... oh, it's not gonna let me get it. You gotta be kidding me, man. My shots just went through a bunch of those guys. That was aggravating. Alright, grenades. Alright, shield, that's good. Just rip right through those guys with the shield. Rockets, also very nice. Alright, pick up this rocket, there we go. Another one. I like rockets, because they just mow through those disc things, like, really fast. Alright, more boots. Speed up. Definitely want to stay sped up if you can. Let's get that grenade launcher. Shield, definitely want that. Because of that. You get the shield, you just rip right through those disc things. I am noticing some interesting things with the collision. I wonder if it has to do with, like, how many enemies are on the screen or stacked on top of each other, but it seems like sometimes, like, my projectiles are just going through enemies, or not doing damage, I should say. Not doing damage when they should be doing damage. Or it could just be like a collision detection issue. Maybe these hitboxes are actually smaller than it seems? I don't know. I'm really not sure. Alright, this is probably the boss fight. You always enter the boss fight from the left. It says secret rooms nearby. Or maybe it's not the boss fight. Now there's another mechanic that's like completely missing from this version, it seems like, and that is the keys. You can get keys in other versions of the game, and you can unlock the Pleasure Dome. I actually unlocked the Pleasure Dome in one of my more recent runs on the Super Nintendo after my last QuickPlay of the game. But I didn't know how to get to the Pleasure Dome. Apparently, right before the final boss room, you have a choice of going right or down. Down is the Pleasure Dome if you have enough keys. I didn't know that. I went right, and so I lost my chance to actually get into the Pleasure Dome. But the more you know, right? But this game does not... I don't even know if it has a Pleasure Dome. I guess we're going to find out. Because there are no keys. I think what I'll do is, on the lead up to the final boss, If there's every door that gives me the option to go down, or every room that gives me the option to go down, I'll take down and see if that takes me to the Pleasure Dome. Like the Super Nintendo one. We'll see what happens. Alright, let's grab the shield. I hate those red ball things. They are really tough to deal with. In pretty much any version of the game, honestly. They're very erratic. Their movement is just crazy. They go all over the place. Alright, I want that grenade launcher. Ooh. That was bad. Look at how fast they are, too. They're some of the fastest enemies in this version of the game. Alright, rocket launcher. Back down to 6 lives. Got that bomb at the last second. Missed my rocket launcher. Alright, got the speed shoes. Grenade launcher. I'll take that. Man, my thumbs are really starting to hurt. Alright, exit. Surprised we're not at the boss fight yet. It's probably after this room. Yeah, it says use the buffalo gun. I don't know what the buffalo gun is. Ooh, extra life. Very good. Definitely want that oh, you gotta be kidding me. Got an extra life, lost an extra life. Hate it when that happens. Yeah, the game's definitely starting to get a little more difficult. Alright, spread shot is probably the best thing I can ask for right now. There's another one on the other side of the screen. Got it. Got the rocket launcher, but oh, more of these red things. Hate these things with a passion. Alright, shield, definitely want that. Another rocket launcher? I know I'm basically, this playthrough's devolved into me basically just pointing out everything that's obviously happening. I just got a weapon! Well, yeah, Austin, I know you just got a weapon, but I don't know what else to talk about at this point, so I'm just kind of trying to just survive at this point. Because it is definitely becoming more intense. And the big reason is these red ball patterns, these red ball enemies. They're really making things chaotic. And that actually happens at the end of the Super Nintendo version, too. You know, they start tossing out all those red balls, and, you know, if it's just enemies coming in from all sides of the screen, like the same type of enemy, you can just kind of, like, herd them around the arena. Almost like it's Doom or something like that. But with the red ball things, it really adds an element of randomization to it, and it's much more difficult to deal with, you know, the enemy spawns as a result. Alright, spread shots. That was close. I do like the star shield here. It's actually very handy. Yeah, like I said, this is actually wrecking my thumbs right now. My right hand in particular, because, again, in this version, you have to, constantly hold, A and B at the same time. Basically for the entire playthrough. If you want to use your strafe functionality correctly, or efficiently, you pretty much have to play like that, and it just wrecks your thumbs. I mean, even my, my left thumb is struggling right now because I'm constantly moving around. Like, I get very little downtime. Man, we're going up again? Where the hell is the boss fight? Man, this level is just going on forever. Last arena? Question mark? I mean, in the SNES one, level 3 is like an endurance battle. There's just a serious amount of enemies you have to mow through before you can make progress. And it's definitely grueling, 100%. Extra life, I will take that, thank you. Ooh, that was really close. I was about to say I'll take an extra life, and then I will lose an extra life. Oh, right as I said that. Seriously, dude. Come on. We just can't seem to get above 6 lives, guys. I really wanted that shield. That star shield really helps you in this game. Can't get that rocket launcher either. I was hurting the enemies right on top of it. Some more speed boots. So your speed boots, they do time out after a while. You know, there's no visual on-screen timer, there's no sound cue or anything like that. You'll just know they've worn off because your character will just start going slow. Every time you pick up another one, it does, I think, like, refresh the timer. The invisible timer that you don't see for the power-up. So every time I see one, I like to grab it just to keep my speed going longer. Like, there's another one, so I might as well grab that. Speed is really important in this game, especially, like, when enemies get bunched up. And there's a ton of them. Staying, like, snappy and fast can make the difference between life or death in this game. That goes for, you know, the arcade version, that goes for the Super Nintendo version. Well, it goes for this version, too. Got it? Nice. Man, they're giving me a lot of boots right now, and I don't really... Oh, stop giving me boots! Give me a weapon, please! For the love of God. It was like 4 boots back to back, maybe more. Yeah, that's the thing about the power-up drops in this game, is like, they feel so random. I do wonder if there is some sort of rhythm and rhyme to them, like... Like, if, like, the more times you pick up one power-up, it'll just keep giving you that same kind of power-up. Because I do notice a lot of times, like, I'll pick up a weapon, and it's like, oh, here's another of the same. Ooh, that was lucky. Should have probably actually died to that guy. Like, there's another shield. It's 2 shields back to back. More boots. Another shield, definitely want that. Whew, and I think that's it. Alright, boss time, I think. Hopefully. Cross your fingers for me. Cobra Death, yep, boss fight.
Big money, big prizes. I love it.
Alright. Yeah, so it's an actual just snake that kind of goes around the entire screen. It's different from the arcade game. It's kind of cool. I like it when different versions of games have alterations like this to like better suit the hardware they're running on. So it's just neat. Ooh, another extra life. That's actually really cool. Extra lives do not appear in boss arenas in other versions. And of course, got an extra life, lost an extra life. Yeah, now there's a second snake. Because there are 2 snakes in the arcade game. Looks like one is already dead. Oh, died again. Yep, he's dead. They start spinning around in circles. Whew. That's still pretty intense. I mean, it's a cool fight. Can't get that rocket launcher. He wanted to protect it. Oh. That's twice now I died right as the other boss was dying. That's crazy. Alright, now we have a few more arenas, and then we're on to the final boss, which is basically just like a reskin of Mutoid Man. It says, enter key room 1. But there are no keys, so it's kind of weird, but whatever. Alright, we'll see if we can get through the rest. I'm gonna assume these arenas are pretty tough. I need some extra lives. Alright, focus, Austin, focus. We can do it, guys, we can do it. Extra life, very nice. Lots of shields, that's good. Another spread shots. Spread shots are very good in arenas like these. This is intense. There's a lot going on. These orbs are really tough because they can shoot lasers in just about any direction, it seems. Alright, I think that's it. Oh man, alright, we have to go to the right. Enter key room 2. Another extra life. Let's grab that. Hell yeah. Alright, back up to 6 lives. Can we get to 7? Only time will tell. Alright, I'm kind of slow right now, so I definitely want those boots. Alright, grenade launcher. Got it. Spread shot is arguably the best against rooms with just tons of enemies. It's actually kind of crazy to me that even the NES version of this is still over an hour long. Just like the Super Nintendo version. So, like, I mean, you're still getting, basically the same amount of time out of it that you would with other versions of the game. But that also makes it kind of a grueling experience. Like, it's time-consuming. You know, an hour long of shooting like this is, that's a lot. You know, it requires, like, some crazy endurance. Like, even right now, I'm starting to get worn out. I'm just like, ugh, is it over yet? I mean, it's still fun, but man, I'm tired. I'm getting hungry. This is my 3rd gameplay video, back to back. I need to get up and walk around, that sort of thing. But, this game is not allowing me to do that. So it's kind of wearing me out. And I guess it's part of the point, is, you know, is to be like an endurance kind of thing. To require lots of endurance. More shoes. Could be a shoe salesman at this point in time. Jeez, with all the boots I've gotten. I have to start my own shoe business. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. Down to 4 lives. Yeah, that's actually what just happened there is a good reason why you don't want to run along doors, especially the bottom door, because, like, you can't see anything coming in on that bottom door. The same goes for other versions, too. In other versions, you can at least see when enemies are, like, starting to come in from the left, right, and, top. Alright, well, I guess this is the final boss. I guess there is no pleasure dome here. And again, it's just a Mutoid Man, reskin. Oh, there's no safe spot. Seriously. This is not gonna be good. Can we get it in 3 lives? As long as we're point blanking with the spread shot, we might have a chance. Nice. Extra life. I don't like being on the bottom, though. Because then he can shoot his lasers just like that. You really want to be above him. See if we can get him down below. Alright, good, good, good. Wow, I think we just did it, guys. I think we just beat the NES version of Smash TV. I mean, I was saying in the beginning, like, oh man, this version's a lot easier, but it's still really intense. It's still intense, and like the Mutoid Man boss, funny enough, went from being like one of the easiest bosses in the game to one of the hardest because of how he just like basically just dive bombs you. He's just crazy. And the points are much less in this version too, it seems like. I'm pretty sure in other versions I was finishing with like 20 mil, and here I only wrapped up with about 9. So yeah, the points are definitely different in this. Of course, there are a lot less enemies. The Super Nintendo version has way more enemies, and a lot of your points actually come from the enemies that you kill. We have graduated to the elite ranks of the Smash TV survivors. You are a great Smash TV player. Maybe the best of all time. It looks like it's the same text as the SNES version. Yeah, some of these visuals are pretty underwhelming, to be honest with you. The Beam Software Development Team. Good job, Beam. You did well. You got Smash TV working on the NES, and you did it really well. So, but yeah, guys, that is Smash TV on the Nintendo Entertainment System. I hope you guys enjoyed this playthrough, or this attempted playthrough that turned out to be a success. We actually managed to get through the whole thing, which is cool. I mean, I was kind of expecting to after coming off the Super Nintendo version, which is a lot harder, but there were definitely, you know, some very challenging parts, especially towards the end. When I got to the final boss with just a handful of lives, I was like, uh-oh, this isn't looking good. So, but we did it. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this quick play session of Smash TV on the NES. Do you have any questions or comments or anything like that? Or if you have any thoughts on NES Smash TV, do post your feedback down in the comment section below. It's always interesting to read your thoughts on these kinds of games. And, oh, it looks like this was 91 as well. But yeah, really fun version of the game. If you've never played it before on NES, I do recommend it. It is worth trying, if only just to see like how well the game runs on the NES. It's kind of crazy that they were able to pull this off, but yet like Probe or whoever developed like the Master System version wasn't able to pull it off so smoothly. So, but yeah, it's still a fun game. I think gameplay-wise, this one still holds up pretty well. It is a little redundant if you got access to the Super Nintendo or arcade versions, but again, this is a little bit easier, so this might even be a good choice for people that might find the original arcade game or SNES ones just a little too intense for their liking. So, but yeah, guys, that's gonna do it for me. I'll have some more videos up here soon, some more quick plays. Again, I'm trying to build like a nice backlog of these so you guys get content on a regular basis, potentially even a weekly basis. And plus I also want to have some more time, you know, like I keep saying, I want to have like a buffer of content that I can just keep uploading, which will give me time to put more time and effort into videos that actually take a while to make. These don't take any time to make. It takes basically the amount of time it takes to record the gameplay. Then I slap the voice on top of it in my video editing software. I make sure the patron slides are updated on the end, and that's pretty much it. I just hit render, and then I have to make the thumbnail, and that's it. You know, it's a 2 to 3 hour process for each one. You know, depending on how long the gameplay is. If the gameplay is only 20 minutes long, then it's probably an hour-long process from start to finish. So, yeah, cranking these out has been a lot easier on me, and it's been fun just firing up games and just kind of seeing what I can do with them. And it's been fun. Hopefully you guys have been enjoying this series. Yeah, if you have any other questions or feedback or anything like that, do post it down in the comments below. And yeah, I will hopefully respond. So, but yeah, thanks guys for hanging out. That's gonna do it for me. And until the next one, take it easy.